This is Lynn Pryor, and this is just a quick word. I want to look at one verse that Jesus prayed in John 17, verse 11. He said, Holy Father, protect them by your name that you have given me. Now, here, Jesus is praying for protection. Protect them by your name that you have given me. Well, if he's praying for our protection, then why am I not protected from the bad things I experience? Life is still full of attacks and problems. I mean, what's up with that? See, Jesus even prayed for protection for his disciples, but they all experienced persecution. Every one of them, except John, died as martyrs. Where's the protection in that? Well, that question is really grounded in a faulty premise we hold on to. We think that if we love Jesus, he'll make our lives better physically, financially, socially, and, well, better in every way. We expect Jesus to give us heaven right here on earth. Now, I don't believe Jesus is opposed to that, but our pleasure and physical comforts is not his main focus. God does heal. God provides. He brings joy into our lives in a host of ways, but He never promised we won't face setbacks. Consider this: every person healed by Jesus eventually died. Even Lazarus, who had been brought back from the dead, Lazarus later died again. So, what kind of protection was Jesus praying for? Well, let's go back to John 17, verse 11, and now let me read the full verse. Jesus prayed, Holy Father, protect them by your name that you have given me, so that they may be one as we are one. Jesus seeks our protection so that we may be one. He seeks our protection in unity. His prayer in this verse is not focused on protection from outside forces. It's a focus on protection from internal forces like sin, temptation, and my own sin's nature to exalt myself. So, what does that have to do with unity? Well, when I exalt myself or go after what I want, that puts me at odds with others, especially if they're seeking to exalt themselves too. And in those moments, love for Christ and love for others goes out the door. Well, look at Judas. What was the one thing that got Judas? It was greed, ambition. When he saw what Jesus was doing and what he wasn't doing, Judas approached the religious leaders with his traitorous actions. See, it wasn't about what Jesus wanted, it was about what Judas wanted. We need protection from self and those things that would disrupt our unity with Christ and with one another. Many of us are familiar with the verse in Romans 8:28 where it says, And we know in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who've been called according to his purpose. In this verse, we're promised that God does work all things for our good. But we often fail to read the very next verse, verse 29. For those he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. The good that God will work in our lives is to bring us into conformity with his Son. So God will not protect us from bad things if the process of going through those difficulties brings us closer to him and makes us more like Jesus. The protection Jesus was praying for was spiritual protection. That's the greater need. I mean, you can take my health and I can still love and follow Jesus, threaten my life, even take my life, but that does not affect my relationship with Christ. But if Satan can attack me internally, get me to focus on self or doubt the goodness of God, then I am on a dangerous path. I am pulling away from unity with Christ and unity with his body, the church. So Jesus' prayer, now I want to make my prayer. Holy Father, protect me by the power of your name, so that I may be one with you and with others. Well, this has been Lynn Pryor, and I'm glad you joined me for this quick word.